Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a world that's more bizarre and shocking than you can imagine. We're talking about the insane things Border Patrol officers find on people trying to cross borders. I'm talking about the stuff that makes you scratch your head and go, no way, that really happened. Get ready to have your mind blown because we're about to unpack some of the craziest Border Patrol finds ever. We're talking drugs stashed in places you wouldn't believe, exotic animals smuggled right under people's noses, and even priceless artifacts making their way across borders illegally. This isn't your average airport security check, folks. This is the real deal, and it's about to get wild. So, buckle up, grab your favorite drink, and get ready to dive into the shadowy world of smuggling and the incredible work Border Patrol officers do every single day. Let's do this. Okay, so picture this, you're a Border Patrol officer, right? You've seen it all, or so you think. You're doing your job, checking passports, looking for anything suspicious, then you come across this guy. Seems ordinary enough, maybe a little nervous, but who isn't at border control, right? But something's off. This guy's got a limp, a prosthetic leg, and the way he's standing, the way he's shifting his weight, it just doesn't feel right. Your gut, that sixth sense that all good Border Patrol officers have, it's telling you something's up. So, you do what any good officer would do. You ask the guy about his leg, maybe he got injured, maybe it's a recent amputation, you gotta ask. And the guy, he's got a story of course, but something about his story, it just doesn't add up. Now, you're really intrigued. You ask the guy if you can take a closer look at his prosthetic leg, standard procedure, you tell him. And that's when it gets interesting. The guy, he hesitates just for a split second, but it's enough. You see a flicker of panic in his eyes, that's all the confirmation you need. You call for backup. Things are about to get real. They bring in the sniffer dogs, and those dogs, they go nuts around this guy's leg. They're trained to sniff out contraband, and they're telling you loud and clear that something's not right. They get the tools to open up the prosthetic leg and bam, it's like something out of a movie. Packages, tightly wrapped, stuffed inside the leg. And it's not candy bars in there, folks. It's drugs. A whole lot of drugs. Turns out, this guy wasn't just passing through, he was a mule, smuggling a small fortune in narcotics across the border, and he almost got away with it, using a prosthetic leg as a cover. Can you believe the audacity? Alright, this next story is just wild. We're talking about exotic animals, folks. Not your cute and cuddly kind, but the rare, endangered, and highly illegal kind. These smugglers, they'll try anything to get these animals across borders, and I mean anything. This one time, Border Patrol officers were doing a routine check on a bus crossing the border. They're looking for anything out of the ordinary, and they get to this one woman. She's got a big, bulky coat on, even though it's the middle of summer. Now that right there is suspicious. I mean, who wears a winter coat in summer, right? So, the officers, they start asking her some questions. Ma'am, why don't you take your coat off for us? And the woman, she's sweating bullets. But she's trying to play it cool. She's mumbling something about being cold, but the officers, they've heard it all before. They ask her again, a little more firmly this time, to remove her coat. And that's when they hear it, a faint chirping sound coming from inside the coat. Now I'm not talking about a cricket here, folks. This is a bird chirping, and not just any bird but a parrot, a whole bunch of parrots to be exact. The officers, they're stunned. They've never seen anything like it. They carefully open the woman's coat, and out pops a dozen brightly colored parrots. These birds were packed in there tight, but thankfully, they were alive. Turns out these weren't just any parrots, they were endangered species, being smuggled to be sold on the black market. The woman was arrested and the parrots were taken to a sanctuary where they could be cared for. This story just goes to show you the lengths people will go to for profit, even if it means endangering innocent animals. Get this story is like something straight out of an Indiana Jones movie. We're talking about stolen artifacts, ancient treasures, and a smuggler who thought he could pull a fast one on Border Patrol. So, this guy, he shows up at the border looking all casual like any other tourist. He's got a backpack, a camera around his neck, the whole 9 yards. But something about him just seems off to the Border Patrol officers. Maybe it's the way he's avoiding eye contact, or maybe it's the nervous sweat on his brow. Whatever it is, the officers decide to take a closer look. They ask the guy the usual questions. Where are you coming from? What's the purpose of your visit? The guy, he's got answers of course, he's on vacation, here to see the sights, blah blah blah. But, something about his story just doesn't add up. The officers, they've got a hunch, so they ask the guy if they can take a look inside his backpack. Now the guy, he hesitates for a second, which is never a good sign, But then he shrugs and says, "Sure, no problem." He acts all casual, like he's got nothing to hide. But the officers, they've seen this act before. They open up the backpack, and at first glance it seems pretty normal. Clothes, toiletries, a guidebook. But then, one of the officers notices something strange. There's a false bottom in the backpack. They carefully remove the false bottom, and bam! There it is. Wrapped in layers of cloth, they find a small, intricately carved statue. It's clear from the craftsmanship that this is no souvenir. This is the real deal. An ancient artifact. Turns out, the guy had stolen the statue from a museum and was trying to smuggle it out of the country. He thought he could get away with it, but the Border Patrol officers, they were too sharp for him. Alright, this one's about cold hard cash. Or, at least it was supposed to be. We're talking about counterfeit money, folks, and a whole lot of it. This smuggler, he thought he had it all figured out, but he underestimated the power of a good Border Patrol officer. So, this guy, he's flying into the country, and he's got this suitcase. Not just any suitcase, mind you, but one of those heavy-duty hard-shell cases. The kind you need a crowbar to open. He gets to customs, and the officer there, he's intrigued. The officer asks the guy, "What's in the suitcase?" And the guy, he just shrugs and says, "Clothes, personal belongings, you know, the usual." But the officer, he's not buying it. He's seen enough suitcases in his time to know that this one's different. He asks the guy if he can open the suitcase, and the guy, he hesitates. He says something about it being private, but the officer, he's not having it. He knows his job, and he knows that something's not right. They get the suitcase open, and bam! It's like a scene out of a heist movie. Stacks of cash, neatly bundled and wrapped in plastic. But something about the money, it just looks off. The color's a little too bright, the paper feels a little too smooth. The officer, he's got a bad feeling about this. He takes a closer look at the bills, and sure enough, they're counterfeit. And not just a few bad bills, folks. We're talking about millions of dollars in fake money. The guy, he's busted. Turns out he was part of a counterfeiting ring, and he was trying to smuggle the fake money into the country. But thanks to the sharp eye of that Border Patrol officer, his plan went up in smoke. This last story is a stark reminder of the dangers that Border Patrol officers face every day. We're talking about illegal firearms, folks, and the people who try to smuggle them across borders. This one time, a Border Patrol officer was doing a routine inspection of a car crossing the border. He's checking IDs, asking the usual questions, when he notices something strange about the driver. The driver, he's got this nervous energy about him. He's fidgeting in his seat, avoiding eye contact with the officer. The officer, he's got a bad feeling about this. He asks the driver to step out of the car, just standard procedure. The driver, he complies, but as he's getting out of the car, the officer notices a bulge under the driver's jacket. It's the shape of a gun. The officer, he's immediately on high alert. He asks the driver about the bulge, and the driver, he panics. He tries to make a run for it, but the officer, he's too quick. He tackles the driver to the ground, and after a brief struggle, he manages to subdue him. They get the driver cuffed, and when they check under his jacket, they find a loaded handgun tucked into a hidden holster. The driver, he was a convicted felon, prohibited from owning firearms, and he was trying to smuggle that gun across the border for who knows what reason. This story just goes to show you the dangers that Border Patrol officers face every day. They never know who they're going to encounter or what they might be hiding. And there you have it, folks. 5 of the most shocking and unbelievable Border Patrol finds ever. From prosthetic legs stuffed with drugs to suitcases overflowing with counterfeit cash, these stories are a testament to the ingenuity, dedication, and bravery of the men and women who protect our borders every day. These officers face incredible challenges, often putting their lives on the line to keep us safe. They're the unsung heroes of our time, and their stories deserve to be told. So, the next time you're waiting in line at customs, take a moment to appreciate the hard work and sacrifice of the Border Patrol officers who are working tirelessly to keep our country safe. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe, everyone.